It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game.
Come on!
It is the Pregame Show. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I am your host, Joe Spadoni, and you got me for the next hour right here on 95.7 The Game. Your home for Golden State Warriors basketball. Warriors back in action tonight in a crucial stretch here for the Dubs as they take on the red-hot Dallas Mavericks at Chase Center. Tip-off at 7. Our coverage starts at 6 o'clock with Warriors Live. Again, right here on 95.7 The Game, we'll take all your calls with Warriors wrap-up afterwards. But a massive 3-game stretch here for the Warriors as it pertains to their chances in the Western Conference. They're the 10th spot, 1.5 back from the Lakers in the 9th seed, and they hold a 2 games, but really you can call it 3 because of the tiebreaker over Houston. So, Mavericks today. Thursday, you got the Rockets in Houston. And if the Rockets, you'd feel like if they had any chance to beat the Warriors or catch them, I should say, they would have to beat them on Thursday. And then you have a Texas two-step, and you're staying there on the back end of a back-to-back against the Dallas Mavericks again. So you see the Mavericks twice in the span of 3 days, but starting tonight at Chase Center. Good morning to all you lovely people getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for school. Just hanging out, man. It's beautiful yesterday in the Bay. Absolutely gorgeous. It felt like summer. Summer is upon us. April has started. Before you know it, people are going to be graduating. You'll start doing all that. March Madness. March is over. Although the madness is still continuing as I see all the highlights on my screen right now of Caitlin Clark dropping a 40 burger on that ass in LSU, and Kim Mulkey, a.k.a. the Riddler, in her outfit yesterday. Yeah, I stole that from Evan Giddings, but that's all right. Hey, the Masters is next Thursday, Kim. Green jacket. All right? Actually, she might go to the Masters. I don't know. Maybe she's into golf. She doesn't strike me as a on the golf course kind of gal. Very patient. Yeah, no.
I'm sure she has a favorite golfer, though.
I got to be honest. Yeah, I'm sure she does. I enjoyed watching.
Tremendous golfer.
A lot of people. All right, I'll leave it there. I got to say, watching her lose is so great. The meltdowns she has on the court.
The memes are so great.
The memes. There's certain people, and not that I know her personally. I don't really give a rip if LSU won or not. I like Angel Reese. Angel Reese, very emotional after the game. Just a lot of hard truths that she was speaking out there about, you know, how after she won the NCAA tournament last year and all the fame she has gotten, all the vitriol, all the sexualization of her, how she's not comfortable with any of that. It's really been hard on her and her teammates having her back on that podium. That was a very touching moment and a very real moment that kind of gets drowned out by, you know, the head coach, the Washington Post article. Oh my goodness, this crazy thing that really wasn't that crazy, but she made it out to be that way. So a lot of people, you know, read the article and was like, oh, yeah, that just confirms what we all probably thought about her and her coaching style and what have you. But yes, I enjoyed watching Kim Mulkey lose. Caitlin Clark advances to another Final Four, and she'll take on the UConn Huskies. Notice how I said her and not Iowa. Caitlin Clark is Iowa basketball. She is Iowa sports right now. All due respect to Iowa football and that laughing stock. Can you think of a bigger juxtaposition of offenses than the Iowa women's basketball team and the Iowa men's football team? Good God. Maybe Caitlin Clark should be the quarterback of that team. There's my guy out there, Kirk Ferentz. God, setting football back decades. Maybe decades too strong. Maybe like a century with their offense. But Caitlin Clark taking the sport by storm right now. And they're going to take on the UConn Huskies. Paige Beckers leading the way for the Huskies. as they take out Juju Watkins, the star freshman, the highest scoring freshman season in NCAA Division I women's basketball history. So history there for Juju as the Trojans go down to the Huskies. Good morning on the Xfinity mobile text line. Yeah, no flubs here today. 888-957-9570. That's the number to get involved there. Call or text. You can also hit us up on Twitch or YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. I wonder how much the NCAA women's tourney is hitting right now, because everywhere I look, everyone's talking about it. First sports thing I should say, Sam asked me this morning, hey, did you watch any of the Iowa LSU game? I did. It was all in the chat. A lot of group chats I'm part of. Steiny and Goo, the morning roast. My boys, everyone's just saying, dude, I'm much more interested in this than in the men's side, which is honestly kind of nuts. Just going by the history of March Madness on the men's side, and I know the women's game has grown tremendously over the last decade plus. And it's pretty amazing to see kind of the perfect storm that is right now happening in college sports, at least this season, because I do wonder if Caitlin Clark leaves and Angel Reese leaves. Juju Watkins is a freshman, so she's not going anywhere. Paige Beckers. Although, do they have the one and done? I wonder. I'm not sure the WNBA's ruling on that, if there's one and dones allowed in there. So I'll get on that. But is that, fervor going to be there for the sport next season once all these big names, if and when they go to the WNBA, right? I wonder. But for now, we'll stay in the present. That's what we like to do. Has it overtaken the men's side, at least in college? Because I'm looking at the name recognition alone, and that's what it comes down to ultimately for me. Who could identify with come tourney time? And I had 4 people I just listed off right there. 4 of them. Juju Watkins, Paige Beckers, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark. All these young women, and I can go in the men's side right now. Who do we got? Zach Edey and them boys? I mean, that's really it. And Zach Edey, let's be honest, he's probably going to be, I don't know, maybe in the teens he gets selected. Maybe he falls. Like, I'm watching the future of the WNBA right now. And on the men's side, I'm watching maybe a rotation player in Dalton Connect and Zach Edey. It's a perfect storm to capture the American audience all across the country. And it's happening before our eyes. And I'm interested to see what the ratings say. And I'm interested to hear what you have to say at 888-957-9570. Have you watched any of the ladies' tournament? Are you interested in any of these names? Is the style of play still not getting it for you? Because I get it. The athleticism is never going to be there compared to the men's side. I mean, they're doing things. They got guys like Zion Williamson in college. I mean, just athletic phenoms that we're not used to seeing. I can't change that. It's just the men's versus the women's side in sports. But the fundamentals, the consistency I'm seeing, the ball movement I'm seeing from the ladies' side, it's refreshing. Because, God, it's like watching paint dry sometimes when I'm watching the men's side. It really is. It's just 3-and-D. Not that it isn't like that in college on the ladies' side at some points. It is. I was watching, Caitlin Clark chuck it up with the best of them. But she's like the Stephen Curry right now of the women's sport. So it's a good shot for her. Again, she dropped 40. And she's one of the biggest names in sports currently. In sports, way bigger than anyone on the men's side. Hell, she might be bigger than anyone right now in the NBA that's playing. Just right now. How crazy is that? When we have LeBron, Steph, Giannis, Jason Tatum, Nikola Jokic, and Caitlin Clark, we are talking about at 5:10 a.m. on the pregame show in the San Francisco. It's pretty wild. It is. 925, you need to relax. 510, Xfinity Mobile text line. Caitlin Clark is the truth. I think she's a better shooter than Sabrina. Oh, absolutely. She's got that Curry range. And just like we saw Sabrina Ionescu in the three-point competition against Steph during the All-Star break this past season, I'm going to need Sabrina and Caitlin and Steph at Chase Center when it's All-Star game next year. That's what I'm going to need. That would be sweet. That would actually be pretty freaking sweet. From the 510 on the Xfinity Mobile text line, can't stand Mulkey. Happy to see her go down. The WAPO article tells us everything we already knew about her. Yeah, there's just certain people's faces. Not that she can change that, but I just like watching certain people lose. That's sports. The histrionics, everything. There's the demonstrative nature, the holier than thou, the suits, all that sort of. And not that that's wrong. Just for me, everything boiled into one. I'm watching Caitlin Clark snatch her soul a la Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat. It was just nice to watch. And shout out Angel Reese before the game, and she was like, listen, I have no hatred towards Caitlin Clark outside of here. She loves Caitlin Clark. On the court, they're both going at each other. What's wrong with that? We're just seeing hate here on the Xfinity Mobile text line on Angel Reese. For why? Well, I think I know why, which is sad and disgusting. But it's the same reason why Angel spoke about it yesterday after she lost. Oh, she's making it about her and her loss. No, she's not. She was asked a question, and she's talking about her season and the hate that has been spewed towards her because of this, quote unquote rivalry with her and Caitlin Clark and all the people that feel the need to be jumping on Caitlin's bandwagon and putting others down. I get it. At some point, it's fun. It's a nice little rivalry, but we take it too far as fans, especially in this country. It turns into hate, and you're hate watching someone else. That's something you don't want to be a part of. Hate watching, whether it's a team, whether it's a player. That's when you need to take a step back, look in the mirror, and be like, all right, I'm too emotionally invested in this thing to be that angry at a person I don't even know, and someone that's, how old is Angel Reese? 20? 21 years old? Like, come on. Let's relax. Grown men and women getting their feelings. I'm seeing this poor girl cry right now on my TV. It's like, come on. Be better, people. That's all I got to say. I know my audience, for the most part, we're the good people. I know it's the best looking crowd in the bunch. It's not even close. Don't even need to look at them. I can just tell. The pre-gamers, always the best looking. The post-gamers, we're going to talk about them. After you pre-game and you get after it, we get a little sloppy. It's all right. From the YouTube chat, and good morning to all of you on YouTube. Search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe. We're streaming all day long, and that's all powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Big sneak, or big sneaky. It is. That's fine. Big sneaky. Again, this is what we'll get. People a little tongue-in-cheek. Can't get enough of bounce passes and layups in women's basketball. Well, then you weren't watching yesterday. Caitlin Clark has Stephen Curry range. The women playing today, they're spacing the floor, knocking down jumpers from Schenectady. Was that Ryan Rucco said that yesterday? Doing a hell of a job, by the way. Speaking of calls, I forgot to play it yesterday. And how dare me? And this is a squirrel moment, hashtag squirrel. I mean, I forgot to play the GOAT. John Sterling. I'm trying to, filibuster here for a second because I pulled it and I forgot to play it. We have a new Juan Soto home run call, and I'm going to be playing my John Sterling calls again. I played him last year. I'm going to continue to do it this year because this might be his last season. Every season might be his last. Guy's an old man. But
he's
Wonderful. Marvelous.
By the way, Yankees 5-0. I think this is like the fourth time in their franchise's history. They're 5-0, fifth time maybe. Watch out. It's early. Giants, by the way, falling to the Los Angeles Dodgers yesterday. Keaton Wynn getting the start, but did all his best that he could. You know, I'm not mad at that from Keaton. Making his season debut at Chavez Ravine against that lineup and only allowing 3 earned runs. Honestly, I'd take that. The bullpen did not do him any favors. And stop me if you've heard this before. And I know it's early. And maybe I'm being a little harsh early on, 5 games in. Bob Melvin is a bullpen problem? Haha. Wow. I, for one, am shocked. Didn't see that over in Oakland. And by the way, speaking of Oakland, I'll get to those candy asses in a second. Just you wait. What's going on over there is an absolute joke and a disgrace. And I'm not talking about Dave Cavill and John Fisher. They're their own separate category. I'm not talking about David Forst and what's going on with the actual roster and the manipulation of said roster. It makes me want to throw up just thinking about it. 408 from the Xfinity Mobile text line. Would the new WNBA team have a chance to get Caitlin Clark? It's a good question, and no. Because she's leaving this year. I believe she is. I don't know if she's declared that already or not. But I believe it's going to be the Indiana Fever, WNBA first overall pick 2024. Correct. Indiana Fever. And it would be Caitlin Clark. Now, I'm not sure how the, integration of a new team affects the overall draft picks. Do they get the number 1 overall immediately next year? Do we even have a name for the new women's team that's going to be playing at Chase Center? Or wherever they're playing? Oakland Arena? I don't even know where they're playing. I think it's Chase Center, right? Do we have a name yet? Still waiting on that? All right. We'll figure it out. But yeah, no. Caitlin Clark, if she does leave this year, which it does feel like it's trending that direction, she would be going to the Indiana Fever. And she's already got a fan base in Iowa. I mean, Indiana is like, I don't know how far away that is from each other. So she'd probably do numbers there. I would assume. She does numbers everywhere. We're talking about her again. The entire show. You're going to be hearing about her on the morning roast. Steiny and Goo. Willard and FP is filling in for Dibs. She's the talk of the sports world right now. And which is, again, incredible, as I put a ball in this conversation, that the women's tourney has overtaken the men's when it comes to intrigue. And I don't know if it's going to be like that every season, but it might be because of the continuity. Again, Zach Edey is not doing it for me if I'm just a casual. I need more than that. I need to see the future of the sport. And yes, it's fun to have Cinderella runs and these guys that no one's ever heard of and no one's ever going to hear again outside of a miracle run. Like NC State, that's awesome. That's great. What they have accomplished is tremendous. Can't name a damn player on that roster. I can't. Except for the guy that's now getting NFL buzz. Right? Like UConn, I think of the head coach, Danny Hurley. And now that can be good and can be bad. Like we need a new coach to kind of like take the reins of a hated Coach K or Jim Calhoun in years past, obviously from UConn. Calipari's still there, but he's only won once. He's kind of turned into a meme and a joke at this point. A Boeheim, guys like that. And Danny Hurley could be taking over that mantle. But the fact that we have so many Europeans going in the top 10 now, we have so many G League Ignite players, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds just going straight to the G League, like what Jonathan Kuminga did. And no one knows who these guys are when they're drafted. And then you get the EDs and the connects and the late teens and the 20s. Hell, maybe they get in the second round. Like, just look at the Warriors picks. They don't even watch Brandon Bajemski outside of Santa Clara alums last year. No. Trace Jackson Davis. I mean, Indiana, are they even still a brand for basketball? They've been pretty mediocre my entire life, but I keep hearing all the great stories about them and Bobby Knight and everything, chair throwing, great. The continuity is lost now on the men's side, and it's been like that for a minute with the one and done. But now that we have the influx and the resources in the G League and over in Europe, it's just, I feel like it's going to be like this going forward when it comes to name recognition. And that matters in a sport like basketball. Football's different. NCAA and the football, that is different. And obviously they don't have a competitor on the women's side, but teams will always carry. You know, Alabama football, it's a brand. I don't care who the quarterback is. That helps if it's a Tua or if it's a Bryce Young. Like Ohio State is a brand. Yes, it helps if there's a Justin Fields, but it doesn't. It could be a no-name quarterback that we don't remember. Hell, who's Braxton Miller? Is that a guy? That was a quarterback, right? At Ohio State. There you go. Trust my knowledge. Anyone remember him? Terrell Pryor? I know Raider fans do, and people in the Bay Area. He got converted to a wide receiver, so did Braxton Miller. Like guys like that. It's different, though, for basketball. You need name recognition. You need someone to draw the audience in. Cinderella runs only do so much, and if you, outside of Cinderella, you need a David versus a Goliath. The Goliath better have some name recognition, easy enough for me to say. Because if not, you're going to lose viewership. And I'm not here to say that ladies bracket's going to have more viewers than the men's side or anything like that. I'm just curious what it's going to look like. Very curious, especially yesterday's. 888-957-9570. We can get back into that conversation if you have any thoughts on the men's side versus the women's side. What's been interesting to you? What's been hitting? Again, I'm just saying, all my group chats, we were talking about that game last night. And Caitlin Clark being cold-blooded, dropping a 40-piece on that ass against the LSU Go Tigers. All right. Giants took an L yesterday, and that's all right. That's all right. Maybe should I tease this? No, I got a couple minutes. What's going on with the A's right now? And if you didn't see what happened yesterday, let me just start here. They don't have a lot of young talent, the Oakland Athletics, to be excited about. They have a couple guys, Zach Geloff, okay, still not a household name with anyone. If you watched the A's at all last year, and God bless you if you did, he showed flashes of wow, that guy, you know what, he could be a great piece for a championship team, maybe a few years from now. And that's as much as you can say about a player. He might be a piece of a team. Shea Langoliers, he's got potential. Is he a Sean Murphy? No. But he's young, and he's shown talent, and he showed promise, and he's got pop in his bat. Brent Rooker, wow, all-star, 30 bombs. Who saw that coming? That's great. That's an A's signing that we're used to. Okay. Paul Blackburn was an all-star a couple years ago. All right, he was hurt last year, but okay. Outside of that, it's a bunch of who the hell is that? This is a farmersonly.com league. Lawrence Butler, God bless you. JJ Bleday. Who? And then another guy I didn't mention last year that if you play fantasy, you are very well aware of, and a guy that probably would have had the title, stolen 100 bases had he stayed healthy, is Esteuri Ruiz, who just got optioned back to AAA after only 7 at-bats, in which he had 3 hits, a .429 batting average, 2 runs, a ribby, a stolen base, and a 1.232 OPS. But we have a, quote, crowded outfield, and it was hard for him to get consistent at-bats here. I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, General Manager David Forrest. What kind of crack are you smoking? What is that laced with? You have a crowded outfield? No, you don't. You have an outfield of jabronis, of guys no one's ever heard of guys I don't care about, to be quite honest. And you're taking your one player who could actually have some juice and inject some athleticism and fun, and who's actually good. It'd be one thing if he's just a Billy Hamilton type, right? Oh, he strikes out a bunch, he can't get any contact at all. It's just hopeless at the plate. But that's not even the case this year. In the small sample size, and by the way, he's only what? Well, I'm trying to see his birthday right here. He's 20-something, 23. How's he ever going to get any better? I mean, it's not like any Mike Trout is in your organization trying to push him out of the way for playing time. He was your best player in a lot of stretches last year, outside of Brent Rooker and Zach Geloff. And he strikes fear into opposing pitchers when he's on the base paths. But yeah, we don't need him. I mean, we got to get JJ Bleday. He's got to get his APs, brother. What a joke. I was watching on a split screen yesterday the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the San Francisco Giants. And I was watching the A's get their brains battered in after they had 5 errors. And by the way, they have more errors than runs this year. But by all means, just put Ruiz back down. The guy has 2 of your runs, by the way. Yeah. More errors than runs already. 5 yesterday. I was watching the Dodgers compared to this squad. And I made the comp. It was like watching my daughter right in front of me making rainbow macaroni art with a glue stick, and they keep falling off. And God love her, she has a smile on her face. And then right across from her is Vincent Van Gogh painting Starry Night. That was the A's versus the Dodgers on my screens yesterday. Macaroni art for Starry Night. And I think that's what it's going to be for most of the season. And I wanted to watch Ruiz, but now I don't even care. I'm not going to watch anything at this point. Oh yeah, by the way, they have negotiations with the city of Oakland, the team, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. 888-957-9570. More Giants, more A's, more Caitlin Clark. And wait till you hear what Tim Kawakami had to say about potential big changes this offseason for the Golden State Warriors. It's the pregame show, Joe Spadoni on 95.7 The Game.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early.
Welcome back. Pregame show, Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. I'm just exhausted on a Tuesday. Exhausted talking about a damn team in Oakland that wants to go to Vegas. I don't even know if they can get to Vegas. Well, they're just doing things every single day that just leaves you scratching your head. In the last segment, talking about Spadoni Ruiz, who bursted on to the scene last year and had 67 stolen bases, led the American League in stolen bases, probably would have had 100 had he not gotten hurt, and probably would have beaten out Ronald Acuna Jr. No, I know for a fact he would have beaten him out for the stolen base record last year. But you option him back down to AAA. You bench Brent Rooker, who had 30 bombskis last year and was your only all-star. For what? Because you want to give Lawrence Butler and J.J. Bleday more at-bats? Like, come on. Be a serious franchise for once in your life. You know, all the other stuff, all the extracurriculars outside. And I feel for Mark Kotsay, because I don't think he has a word in any of this. I don't. I think this is all from the up top, from David Forst, who's tight with Fisher, and they're telling him to lose. To be quite honest. Hey, it's Major League, but let's actually not win this time. So can you do everything you can not to do that? How come a Major League they never optioned down Charlie Sheen and them boys? Huh? Rick Vaughn. Because even that was too crazy. And your only exciting young player, and it's still exciting. I'm sorry, what did I say earlier? He's 23. He's 25, actually. Still. The stolen base is now becoming more and more exciting again. And Ruiz is the best at doing that in the league. Oh, by the way, we used to have another guy here named Ricky Henderson. Might have heard of him. Just one of, if not the greatest player in the history of the sport. I mean, you cut the guy's career in half. He's a Hall of Famer on two ends. And he made that play a layup. And we hadn't seen someone in an Oakland A's uniform do it like he did, Ruiz, since Ricky. And it was fun to watch. But hey, you know, I guess you're not allowed to do fun things. Even the fans, nope, you can't even enjoy watching a guy. Can't enjoy watching home runs or stolen bases. No, that's enough of that. No fun allowed. You will suck. You'll win 40 games, and that's the end of it. Now go eat your lunch. And by the way, since the A's were a lottery team 2 years in a row now, whatever it was, 3 years in a row, I don't even know what it is. They can't even be a lottery team this year. Is that how it works, right? After so many consecutive times being horrible, the league's like, actually, no. Not anymore. So they don't even have a top 5, top 10, whatever the hell it is this year. So it doesn't even make sense to start tanking. Unless you're trying not to get fans to show up, but that's already the case. That's why this move makes zero sense. Zero. But then again, brain dead ownership, brain dead president, that'll happen. Why even talk about these clowns 925? Because you know what? Someone's got to hold their asses accountable. And I'm going to do it. So I'm going to talk about these clowns in the clown show. 510, Xfinity Mobile text line. Ruiz was sent down so they could bring in a 200 hitter they picked up from Baltimore. Yes, I guess a 200 hitter fits the A's better. Phil in Oakland. Just doesn't. And yeah, he's right. Who would they just pick up from Baltimore? is Baltimore. Who did they just get? I don't even know. Is it Jack Cust? Is he back? It's a joke. Anyways, you can take your calls and texts on that if you want. 888-957-9570. I was going to have a mean segue there, but I'm not going to. I was going to say from one joke to another, from Ruiz to Draymond Green, but I'm not going to do that. That's too mean. Tim Kawakami talking about Draymond Green yesterday with Willard and FP filling in for Dan Dibley. And you can find the entire interview on YouTube. Search 95.7 The Game. Like and subscribe there. It's all powered by First NorCal Credit Union. You can find the interview there. You could download the Odyssey app, which is free. Download the Odyssey app. You can take 95.7 The Game wherever you want to go, all around America. Hell, does it work in Thailand? I don't know. Someone hit me up from Thailand yesterday. We had a Chilean call into the morning roast. Although Chilean might be too strong. He said he was a gringo who lives in Chile. But nonetheless, people from Chile calling. I can go for some chili right now this morning. But TK talking Golden State Warriors, and TK knows the ins and outs of all the Bay Area franchises, all the Bay Area sports. He's been doing it for a very long time. I've been reading him since I was a child. And here's Kawakami discussing the value of Draymond Green and why this notion that the Golden State Warriors could move on from him this summer seems like a stretch.
I hear this from the Warriors stakeholders, as I wrote, not just the last few days, but over the last few weeks, last few months, even last few years, is that he's worth it. They make that decision every time. And at some point, he probably won't be worth it. And that might be in a year, it might be in 2 years. If there's some great trade offer for him, it might be this offseason, but I don't think that's coming. And a game like last night is why they make these decisions. I'll tell the honest truth is I was going to write a column on Draymond is very similar to the one it turned out even before that game happened, just presuming he was going to have a really good game, because that's the way it goes with Draymond. Something controversial happens, something that pushes the Warriors and the fans and the nation to wonder, is this guy, should he still be around? And he usually pulls out a great game or two, or three, or five.
888-957-9570. Is Draymond Green too valuable to move off? What is his value to Golden State right now? I actually wonder that. What is Draymond Green's value going forward, and what does it look like for this squad? Defensively, and listen, he's coming off one of his best games of the year, statistically. He was tremendous against San Antonio. But going forward, I do question the value of him compared to his peers. We'll discuss that on the other side. More of your calls, more of your text. And yes, it was Tyler Nevin that needed to be called up from AAA Las Vegas. Okay, Tyler Nevin. Yeah, he'll be out of the league in 2 years. 888-957-9570. It's the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
Hey, I got a question for you. You hate bending over to put on your shoes? Wish you could just put them on standing or sitting without ever having to touch them? If so, then I have the shoe for you. Introducing new hands-free Skechers Slip-ins. With new Skechers Slip-ins, you just step in and off you go. You don't even need to lace up. So how do Skechers Slip-ins work? Well, there's a special smooth comfort pillow in the heel that helps your foot slide right into place. So just step in them and go.
Thanks, Tim. My friend Tim Roy. Be on the call tonight as the Warriors take on the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic. Hottest team in the Western Conference right now are the Dallas Mavericks. Red hot, won 7 in a row. They're primed for a playoff run. Are the Warriors primed for a play-in run? They would like to get a playoff run, but to do that, you got to win the play-in games. To win the play-in games, you got to get to the play-in. And to do that, you got to take care of business tonight. Coverage of that starts at 6 o'clock with Warriors Live right here on 95.7 The Game. Download that Odyssey app. Stream us on YouTube for the pre and post Warriors wrap-up. Evan Giddings, Mark Grandy, they've been doing a hell of a job tag teaming that bad boy all year long. And again, Tim Roy will be on the call at 7 o'clock for the tip-off right here on 95.7 The Game. We've been talking NCAA women's, men's, A's, Giants, Dodgers, everything. I'm talking about it all. And I left you last segment with Tim Kawakami talking about Draymond Green. And Tim Kawakami joined the afternoon show yesterday and had some interesting thoughts on how the Warriors brass internally feel about Draymond and how, they're not affected by shows like the pregame show or the morning roast or Steiny and Guru.
They do not react to what talk show hosts and columnists and ESPN talking heads want them to do. They just don't. And some of that I appreciate. Like just because it's an emergency on, First Take doesn't mean it's an emergency for the Warriors. What's the best thing they have on the basketball court to
I think he glossed over the fact that Steph Curry was frustrated, and Steph Curry is the franchise. You lose Steph Curry, yeah, then the shareholders will be very upset. The owner will be very grumpy. So now that he's messing with Stephen Curry's bottom line and his emotions, yeah, we got a problem. Yeah, I disagree with the notion that, oh yeah, Steph's, he's emotional about it. But no, it's a big freaking deal. That is a massive deal. When the leader and the guy that has carried this franchise from the ashes and made it what it is today, the most valuable NBA franchise, the most valuable NBA franchise. I say that twice because that is freaking nuts. And if you grew up being a Golden State Warriors fan, or if you watched this team 15 years ago, that is crazy. More valuable than the Lakers, the Knicks, Celtics, any of those teams. It's because of that guy, Stephen Curry. And if you start messing with his nut, you start messing with that thing, shout out Step Bros, you mess with his nut, you're playing with fire. You are. Here's more from TK talking about no other Warrior can do what Draymond does.
Trace Jackson Davis can't do that. Maybe he can in a year or two. He can't do it now. Kevon Looney certainly can't do it anymore. There aren't guys who can do what he does, specifically team with Steph Curry. Again, there might become a point when, if he gets suspended again, this is a different conversation. He has not got suspended again. And it's just that because of, I understand it's loaded. He's had the suspensions twice this season already. He's done the things he's done. Then it's one more time. That's it over, because we're all tired of it. That's not where they are. The viewers are a different thing than the Golden State Warriors. And viewers can just say, just dump them. What do you dump them for? How do you move that contract? Who are they getting to replace them? How good are they going to be if they have to replace them? Those are the practical questions.
888-957-9570. Should the Golden State Warriors look to move off of Draymond this offseason? What would that look like? Can they even do that? What is his value outside of this team to a team like, I don't know, Lakers, Bucks, Heat, Celtics, a team like that? What is his value elsewhere? Probably not as high as it's going to be on this team. That's just a fact. Because all we have known and all we have seen is Draymond Green in a Golden State Warriors uniform, and his style of play is very unique to this system. And what he is asked to do is very unique to this system. And he's one of the greatest defensive players of all time. On the DPOY. He's been there. He's done that. He's set in stone. He's a 4-time champ. And he's a Hall of Famer. We get all of that. But when does enough become enough? When does the suspensions outweigh the production on the floor? That's what I would argue. He clearly hasn't learned his lesson. It's going to happen again, whether it's in the play-in, whether it's the playoffs, whether it's next year. Something's going to happen again. He's going to blow up. He's going to be suspended indefinitely, maybe for a season. That's where this is headed. That's what it's going to be. And are we waiting till that happens to be, maybe we're done with him. Is that what we're going to do? Or are we going to be proactive in doing what championship organizations do? I don't know, like one in this Bay Area, what Bill Walsh would do. Get rid of a player a year or two too soon, then too late. Maybe you do that. Speaking of big changes in the offseason, Joe Lacob sat down with Tim Kawakami a couple months ago on the TK pod, which you can find on Odyssey. And he alluded to potentially big changes this offseason, depending on how the season ends. Here's what Kawakami thought about those comments.
I think Chris Paul coming back is now very dwindling chances of that happening. That's a contract that would just disappear. Klay Thompson will not be signing for $40 million. I'll tell you that. And if he does, it will not be with the Warriors, and it might be half of that. I think those are two easy things for them. Saying that those are two big changes, right? To not bring back those two players would be large, or to bring back Klay at a low number. I think Kevon Looney, probably at this point, I would not draw him down as being on the roster. So just those three things would be interesting, or they could possibly use the Chris Paul contract. It's non-guaranteed. If the other team, if you trade him to a team that guarantees it, you can use it to try to acquire money back. Those are the easy things, or maybe not easy. Those are the kind of the workable things.
All right. That's what we all thought, though, right? Chris Paul? Like, is that the major changes we were looking for? Those are kind of And I get it. Moving off potentially from Klay Thompson is a big deal in the sense that he has meant so much to the franchise. And he is also a made man. Everything I listed off about Draymond Green, you could attach to Klay Thompson as well, just as a two-way player. At his peak, it was him and Kawhi Leonard as the best two-way guards and two-way players in the NBA. And again, he's a Splash Brother, 4-time champ. Stephen Curry's only known, Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and these guys when he's won titles. And moving on from him would be a massive change. But on the court, he just hasn't been the guy this year. He just hasn't been, what this team needs him to be. And while the recent stretch off the bench was very nice, and him getting into that role was very nice, would he want to do that going forward? I'm not sure. And for what price point? I am not sure. I do agree with Kawakami there. He's looking more at like a 2-year, $20 million than he would be 2-year, $40 million deal. I think that makes a lot more sense. And if it wasn't that, maybe it's a 1-year, $18 million, something like that. And then we'll do all this again next year. But is that a big enough move? Is that a big enough change for this team? Do they need to go after a number two, a bona fide number two? How do you get that? Who's available? Those are all questions that's going to happen as the season unfolds, as this regular season unfolds, the play-in tournament, what have you. We only got a couple weeks left. Where are the Warriors going to be? It's fascinating. Brian Geltzeiler, Sirius NBA Radio, does a hell of a job. Joined Steiny and Goo yesterday. Geltzy, as Steiny calls him. You can find that entire interview, YouTube, search 95.7 The Game, like, subscribe. Also, Odyssey app. Geltzeiler on the big change that he thinks could involve the Warriors.
All right, so what's a big change? Not re-signing Klay Thompson. Yeah. That'd be a big change.
Yep.
Right? And listen, I still think they're going to re-sign Klay Thompson. But the bottom line is that we're here at April 1st, 2024. His contract expires June 30th, 2024, and they don't have his name on an extension. So we have to explore that. Again, don't think it's going to happen, but that will be a major change. I think they're going to be out there trying to find any taker they possibly can for Andrew Wiggins. I think, and that would be a substantial change. Now, who will that taker be? Will they have to attach draft picks to him to get rid of him? Maybe it's some kind of swap with someone like the Nets to bring in the last year of Simmons' contract to get them out of the last, 3 years of Wiggins. It could be something like that. But I think that would be a substantial change.
That would be funny. All the conversation we had in regards around Ben Simmons and Draymond Green here at the station a few years back. Would you take him and do all... You got a reclamation project in Wiggins when you traded D'Angelo Russell a few years ago. And you got a pick back, which was a hell of a deal and how you won a championship because Andrew Wiggins was your second best player. So imagine trading Andrew Wiggins for another reclamation project and Ben Simmons? Ooh. Hey, I'm here for the content. I'll just leave it at that. I'm also here for the morning roast. They're up next, 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1.